Oh, God. No, don't. Oh, God. It's about to fall. Alright. Hey. Before we go into... There goes the lighting. Before we go into the review of Midsommar, that's what I'm starting off first, of a double movie feature day, I'm just gonna... I guess, self-promote. I have a Patreon, the link is down below, and if you would like to help me out, I am a struggling artist who is currently unemployed, and just a little, like $1 a month could help out. You could see a lot of work-in-progress stuff I have with my upcoming costumes and makeup and all the weird shit I actually do for the cons and stuff that I vlog. Yeah, I also have a Depop and eBay, all under Spaz Out Loud. I sell a bunch of old shit from my house. I also have an Etsy, again, link down below. Same username, that I sell artwork. So if you want my old shit, you want my art, or you want to just support me, help me out, alright? Anyway, so, Midsommar. I think my face says it all with Midsommar. Jesus fucking Christ, what the fuck? What the fuck does this dude do? Like, his movies are just like, what the fuck? And it's kind of hard to kind of like top Hereditary, because Hereditary was pretty fucking decent, And and with, like, before I go into spoilers, and with Midsommar, it does that thing where, like, with Hereditary and Midsommar, it does the thing where, like, in the beginning of the movie, you're already like, okay, I know where this is going. Again, it did that in Hereditary. You're like, I know where this is going. But fuck that, okay? You can think, okay, this movie is predictable, but the journey to what your foreshadowing thing is, to the event itself it's foreshadowing, is what the fuck? Like, all in between that. So you're like, oh, I know they're definitely gonna call back to that, and then they do, or whatever, but in between all that, you're like, like that sound. And I was lucky I was the only one in the theater, so I was kind of able to, like, let some of those sounds out, because, I don't know, man, because when I saw Hereditary, and I think I was, like, one of, like, 3 or 4 people, and, the car scene, all that stuff, when that happened, I just, it's even in my thumbnail for Hereditary where I'm like, like that. But anyway, this movie, like, again, I was glad I was actually by myself in the theater, because I was just like, I'll have to go into spoilers to really explain that, because bitch, put all the light on me, because the fucking backlighting, but yeah, so if you're definitely into horror, into the weird shit kind of movies, go see it, and definitely go see it. If you're not sure, maybe matinee, go see it with a bunch of friends, all that stuff. If you're, like, not okay with a lot of, like, what the fuck kind of stuff, but you're still curious, of course I would still say, like, check it out when it comes on streaming and all that shit. But if you enjoyed Hereditary, you would enjoy this, because it definitely has that same kind of feel with what this director does, which is like, okay, this seems like a storyline that we've kind of seen before. Same thing with Hereditary. You're like, oh, I get it. This is the movie I'm getting. And with this one, you're like, I get it. This is the movie I'm getting. But in the midst of, I get it, this is the movie I'm getting, you're also getting, what the fuck is also this on top of it, You're just like, oh, I don't know. Yeah. But, anyway, so I'm gonna go into spoilers. 1, 2, 3 spoilers. Holy shit. So, of course, the plot of the movie is that a bunch of friends go into, like, a weird little, like, villagey spot in Sweden, and then, like, weird shit starts happening. So, like I said, the story, we all know kind of story. It's the whole bunch of Americans go to Europe and then shit happens. Or the whole, you go to a small town, you go to a, farm, a ranch kind of stuff, and then, like, what looks kind of silly looking, or what looks kind of, okay, this is your tradition, this is your culture or something, turns out to be like, oh my god, like, is it well, it's not cannibals in this sense, but it's like that, where you're like, oh, this is fine, I'm just engaging in the culture, and, like, understanding what you guys do, and, oh my god, that's what this movie is. You're just like, okay. And also, like, you've seen it in the trailer, I'm not okay. Like, if I was those people and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go with my friend, and I just see a bunch of white people in, like, white robes, I'm like, I'm gonna leave, you know? There was the black dude in there, but he was like, oh, I'm an anthropologist, I want to study this and understand them more. But I was like, black dude, there's a bunch of white people in robes. Get out! Fuck your, thesis. Fuck trying to get your PhD. Get the fuck out! You know? And, I don't know, like, I'm shouting. I know I have a fan on, but I don't have to be that loud. My God, man. So yeah, it's like that. And one of the guys in the group of friends is Swedish. He actually is originally from that commune. I think that's what they called it in the movie. So it's kind of like, okay, this movie starts off, again, with, and I'm going to keep comparing it to Hereditary because it's the other movie the director has done. So it kind of starts off with a death, Whereas in Hereditary, okay, it's like grandma died. But you're like, well, grandma is old. Grandparents died. They're old. So it's just kind of like, okay. And then the grieving mom kind of deals with it and all this weird shit starts happening. Whereas in this one, it's like the main character girl, Danny, like, her sister's bipolar, and she's, like, really fucked up and all that stuff, and then she sends, like, a really cryptic email to her that says, like, everything is black, and, mom and dad are coming too, and you're like, what the fuck? And she's in a relationship with this guy, Christian, and, like, his friends are telling him to, like, just break it up with her because, she's just, like, dragging you into her shit, and then she's talking to her friend, she's like, oh, I don't want to lose him, like, they both love each other, but it's like, because of, her family's situation, or really her sister, it's like, this relationship might not work out because of, sad to say, the obstacle of the sister, but the movie starts off with, like, the sister and the parents dying, and it's like, I knew something was up, because when she called the parents, and then, like, the camera just, like, pans to, like, the bed with them sleeping, but it kind of lingered a little bit longer, and I was like, I don't think they're sleeping. Plus, you didn't hear that, you didn't see, like, them breathing and all that stuff. I was just like, this doesn't feel right. But what got me, because, like, the parents were older, too, so it was just kind of like, okay. But also what got me was, like, when they were discovered, and it was discovered with the whole, like, carbon monoxide poisoning, which, god awful. But, it's like, it sucks, but it's also, the parents went in their sleep, But it's like the sister, like, pumped the thing and, like, breathed it in all fucking, like, jackass, with that thing. But instead of a funnel and someone farts into it, it's carbon monoxide. And she's just there, like, and there's, like, all this, like, vomit and shit because she was awake, so she's, like, breathing and, like that part, I was like, oh, okay, this is how we're starting the movie. Like, this starts off, and then it's like title sequence. It's like, oh, okay, this is what I'm in for. So of course the girl's extremely distraught, and the trip to Sweden was initially just supposed to be like for the guys. And it's for, like them, the black guy trying to, do his thesis for his PhD or whatever, and then the other guys just kind of be like, ladies, kind of thing, like, fine, whatever, but because the girl's so distraught, all that stuff, they're like, okay, let's invite her, I doubt she'll go, okay, she ends up going, fine. So, whatchamacallit, just really the difference of the two movies I saw today, it's like I got a 2.5 hour, like, horror film, and then I got an hour and a half of a comedy, and I'm just saying, I kind of needed this kind of balance, because I went from from Midsommar, where a lot of times, like, the camera would just be still, and then characters will move around, and then, like, or there'll be a mirror, and so you don't have to do a lot of, like, those kind of shots, to, like, Stuber, which is, obviously a comedy action movie, and the camera was moving all over the place, so it was just like, oh, okay, whew, balance. But anyway, just kind of like with Hereditary, there's a lot of creative shots to the movie, really good angles and all that stuff. It's just like, the filmmaking standpoint of this movie was obviously not bad, it was good, and I enjoyed it and everything. So once they get to Sweden, they're, like, kind of going off-road and all that stuff, because it's like, oh, it's like the village where you're living off the grid, all that stuff, and you gotta go like 1,000 bajillion miles away. So, like, they kind of stop off somewhere and pick up some other, like, young people who are, like, coming back for the thing to the village, and they all decide to do some mushrooms, and I'm like, okay. And I'm, like, sitting there, like, okay, you had to do drugs that you did not bring in a foreign country. I'm like, okay, put that on the check mark of nope. First thing, you know, it's already like, one, you're not gonna be in the city, you know, like, you know, I've had a dry erase board here, you know, like, you're gonna not be in city or like a spot where it's like people are gonna be around. You're gonna be like around a lot of like, you know, just wooded area, and then no cell service. It's a whole lot of nope, you know. And again, you know, you have an idea, you're like, okay, shit's gonna go wrong. You know, and from the trailer, you're like, some people are gonna die. It's gonna be one of those movies where, like, someone's either gonna die or get really, really fucking hurt. But yeah, so they start, like, tripping on, you know, like, mushrooms and all that stuff, and it was just kind of like, and just to kind of see things kind of, like, do like this, I was just like, oh, hey, I know what that feels like. I've never, you know, done drugs, definitely not mushrooms, but I have these very, very strong painkillers that are opioids for my chronic pain that, things kind of, you know, look like that, to a degree. You know, I also, you know, sink into my bed for, you know, a good 8 hours and all that stuff, and can't move, but I am fully awake and all that stuff. So I'm like, oh, whew, this feels familiar. Well, at least I'm not in pain, and someone else is freaking out, not me, you know. Anyway, once they get to the village place itself, already I'm like, like, you know, again, it's a whole lot of nope for me, but it's just one of those, like, alright, white people and one black dude, like, you've made a decision. You're gonna die, you know, that's pretty much it. Like, it's one of those, like, you're gonna die, you know, it's like the Blair Witch thing, you're going into the woods to look for something, you're gonna die. So I'm sitting there, and it's just, like, 3 people with, like, recorders, just playing music, and I'm like, no, I'm not okay with that. Again, a bunch of white people in white robes, I'm not okay with that, you know, and, you know, initially, like, it just kind of looks kind of cutesy, and it looks kind of like one of those, I know it's Midsommar, but it looks like one of those, like, spring maypole kind of things, you know, because you see there's, like, a maypole kind of shit, and then, you know, there's, like, I made a joke on my Instagram story saying, like, oh, is this what Coachella is like? Because, you know, it's a bunch of white girls with, like, flower crowns and stuff, and, like, doing a lot of this shit, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do, okay, sit like that to block the light. Anyway, so I was like, okay, you know, it just feels like, ooh, it's a festival, you know, ooh, it's like a concert thing, no, and it's like, sorry, I'm just gonna jump to this part. So there's a part where you see a, like, piece of tapestry, I guess you would call it, but it's like art, and it portrays a story, and, like, the camera pans, and you kind of, like, read the pictorial story, and you're like, what? Because it's like, because you see it's like, you kind of read it kind of backwards, because the camera pans this way, and, you know, obviously you do right, let's say right to left, you do left to right, the camera went right to left, and to tell the story in, you know, in the right way, is like, if you fawn over someone, or you're interested in someone, you as the lady, you menstruate your blood, you pee, I guess, well, not you pee, but, you know, you fill a cup with menstrual blood for the person to, and then you snip a little bit of your pubes and sprinkle it in their food, and then it's like, that's how you know you're chosen to be their lover or something. Again, I'm glad I was the only one in the theater, because I was like, when I saw that, I went, wait, what? Because I saw it backwards. I was like, what? And the moment it was just like crotch, and it was just like drawing of a crotch and snipping pubes, I went, huh? And then I saw, like, the cup, and it was red. I was like, what? And then I had to make sure, I had to like look around and make sure I really was the only one in the theater. And I was, because the theater also opened up a little late. And when I bought my tickets yesterday, apparently it was going to be one other person so far. They were going to sit all the way in the back corner, like, I don't know what the fuck you doing in the theater. But, yeah, so of course, weird shit starts happening. And, you know, weird traditions, all that stuff. And then here comes the, so they go, like, they go and eat and, like, whatever. And then they go to, like, the side of a quarry or something. And then, like, the two oldest people in their little village, a guy and a old lady and an old man, they, like, and you know what's gonna happen, because, like, they're in the side of a quarry, everyone's down below, but the two old people were at the top of a cliff, and all I'm thinking is, like, they're gonna jump. Like, it's gonna be a human sacrifice. It's gonna be human sacrifice. And it is, or was, however you look at it, and it was, and again, like I said, you could predict something, but at the same time, it's not like, you know, I guess full comparison, my previous review of, like, you know, Spider-Man Far From Home, where it was like, wow, that's really predictable, and you could kind of, like, really anticipate every beat of the movie. Not this one! You're like, oh, I got that, but again, from A to B, all the other stuff in between. And so, yeah, like, the lady jumps first, and there's, like a rock, like, boulder, like, at the bottom there, and she lands flat on the fucking boulder, like, and then, like, she lands, and her face is smashed, and it's like, oh, this director loves smashed faces. Also, please fucking hire me to do all that effect stuff, please, okay? I don't have to be, like, the main person who sculpts it, but, you know, with a squirt bottle with blood, I'll be that person, you know, and she just, bleh, like, all that stuff, and I was like, oh my god, and of course, the kids who are not from there are like, oh my god! They're like, you know, all that stuff. They also met, like, two other people, who were like, oh yeah, we're friends, and yeah, okay, cool, some other outsiders. But that couple was freaking out. While our main, four, because Will Poulter's character, actually, he decided to take a nap, so he didn't see it. But, our main, like, characters were just like, you know, like, just shocked. They were just like, what the fuck? You know? And then when the old man, went to, like, jump, he didn't, like, fall and, like, belly flop like the lady did. He went, like, down, and he went down and just no knees. Like, his knees came up to his chest, you know? And, like, legs all fucking mangled, obviously, and he's like that. And then everyone's just like, damn it. And you saw a dude before this, I guess, sacrifice happened with, like, a big wooden hammer. And it's like, oh, he's not Gallagher, so I wonder what he's gonna do. So, of course, 4 people take turns to smash his face. I'm like, he was dead by smash 1. I guess smash 2 for good luck. And then the last 2, what else you doing? Just pudding. Like, that's what it was fucking pudding. So yeah, like, shit like that starts happening. Then they burn the bodies and throw the ashes onto a dead tree. Oh my god. And it's just, like, I feel like I'm talking about Mandy. Like, it has, like, a Mandy feel to it, where it's just like, things I'm describing make me sound like I'm crazy, but no, this happened in a movie. And also, like, in the past, and, like, in the last month or so, I finally got to see The Holy Mountain, which is a movie in the 70s. That's all I have to say, because that says it all for that type of movie. Like, oh, okay, well, what have I seen? Crazy, you know? But yeah, so, just crazy shit starts happening. They talked about a thing about, like, oh, the May Queen and all that stuff, like, who gets crowned. You knew the girl was gonna get crowned, the head of the Flower Crown Queens, I'm just gonna call it that. You knew she was gonna get crowned. You knew that. But then whatever happened after that, you're like, oh, it's just weird. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, you really have to just watch the movie, because if I just start talking about it, it's just like, cool, lock me up, because, you know, and then they also, like, it's just, I don't know what else to say. Like, I don't want to give all of it away, but it's just like, but to go back, because you knew it was going to get foreshadowed, that drawing thing. There's this, like, redhead that, like, had a fondness of Christian, who is the main character, Danny's boyfriend. So there's one part where they're having like a meal, and everyone's got like, you know, like an orangey kind of drink, but his drink looked kind of like red grapefruity. Yeah, he sipped on that girl's menstrual blood. It was like, blah, blah. Like when he sipped on it, I went, because I thought for a second, I was like, why is his drink like pinkish and everyone else's drink is orange? But then when he bit into like the pie thing and he pulled out a pube, and everyone's like, oh, and he's like, oh, okay, that's kind of odd. Like he's like, that's odd. That's odd. There's a pube in your mouth, you know. And then I was like, oh god, it's happening. That redhead, you know, wants you. And then he like sips the drink, and then the camera lingers on the drink, and I was like, ah, you know. Again, good thing I was the only one in the theater because screaming, a lot of screaming came out of me. But yeah, like you knew none of them were gonna get out of this alive. You knew that, and oh my god, like I don't know what else to say. Like. This movie, like, oh my god, like, anyway, since I got into the theater a little late because they opened the theater late, and the movie, like, the trailers already started playing, since it's a rated R movie, we got, I walked in halfway through the It Chapter 2 trailer, then it was Farewell, which, it's limited, so I don't have time to go into the city to go see a movie like that. Two, I'll see that on my own because I'll be at home crying and I can pause and give a moment and hug my mom and stuff. Then it was a Red Band trailer for a movie called Ready or Not, and it has to do with, like, again, white people in a mansion and possibly dying. So it's like, oh, that's a Get Out feel to it, but it's just all white people. Then the Red Band trailer for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and, you know, then you get to see, that Pacino's in the movie, and then Luke Perry is in the movie, and, you know, they talk about Charles Manson, Manson, of course, because obviously, Margot Robbie plays Sharon Tate, and all that shit. But anyway, I just, like, I don't know, like, this movie is good, go see it, my camera's about to overheat, and I need to talk about Stuber, so, yeah, please support me, and my madness, I don't know.